Chapter 1. Slow the fuck down, Carlon Campbell Robinson shouted out loud as the HMP Sweatbox sped through the early evening South London traffic. Waste man, he thought. It was cold as fuck, and the heating was only turned on in the summer, so the prisoners would sweat like pigs. He blew hot air into his hands and rubbed them together and tried to relax, but the van driver was rolling like he had some form of death wish. He lashed out in anger, banging the steel doors with his fist. Campbell Robinson, shut the fuck up, or we'll kick the shit out of you when we get to the other end, screamed the irritated GOAME officer in the back of the van. Fuck you, B. You ain't on shit. Furthermore, talk like that when the doors open. Go on, I dare you. The Camberwell Court judge had refused bail, and Carlon was being transferred to HMYY Felton, apparently the biggest and most secure juvenile prison in Europe, surrounded by 20-foot razor-sharp barbed wire fences and even higher brown walls. The Formula One journey lasted for over an hour, with the Sweatbox coming to a halt at the main entrance to L. No shanks or guns up in this bitch, thought Carlon, as he gazed out of the 8-inch by 3 Sweatbox window. He knew there'd be nowhere to run or hide. You were either built to survive the jungle or you weren't. Either way, once you hit the landing, all will be revealed. 45 minutes later, Carlon's Sweatbox door was opened, and he was handcuffed to a 6'4" super hench motherfucker, who led him down the 4 van steps and into the prison reception area. The reality that he was incarcerated, hitting him only when the iron gates clanged shut behind him. A tense silence filled the air. Once he had his handcuffs removed, he was directed to an officer standing behind a large wooden desk. Welcome to HMYY Felton, your worst fucking nightmare, the short, fat, bald-headed desk officer said in a tone which suggested he enjoyed being in a position of power. Name? Carlon smiled and stared at the screw with an expression that clearly said never scared. Carlon Anthony Campbell Robinson. Date of birth, 22nd 1073. Address you gave to the court, 213 Algernon Road, Lewisham, SE13. Are you going to play the game, or do you intend to take us on? The desk officer asked. Just give me a bed and I'm good, replied Carlon. 1 hour later, he had been strip searched and given a prison bed pack, which he had rolled up under his arm, and he was handed over to a cute blonde female officer, who had the pleasure of escorting him to his new location. They hit the corridor. What wing am I going on, he asked. Nightingale, she replied. Is this your first time in Felton? Nah, I've been there once before, last year. I thought you were fresh meat, she said, with a slight smile on her face. He laughed, and for the first time he ran his eye over the product. She was fly, around 22, maybe 23. Nice small peach arse, slim hips, and a pair of breasts that had obviously cost her a fortune. Even her nail game was tight. You're kinda cute. Don't even go there, she responded. Why not? Because I don't fuck prisoners, she answered quickly. Who said anything about wanting to fuck you? Isn't that what you're thinking, she asked, as she glanced at him sideways. Nah, the thought didn't even cross my mind. She turned right, and she pulled out her keys as they approached Nightingale Wing. What's your name? Asked Carlon. Miss Johnson, she replied. Fuck that formal shit. Look, it is what it is. I like, you like, what's up? I know the rules. My lips are sealed. What are you in for? She inquired. Handling stolen goods. The boys in blue found 150k worth of computer chips in the boot of the car we're sitting in. It's nothing. Was you in the driving seat? He smiled. Do I look stupid? You look many things. Stupid isn't one of them, she said in a seductive voice. As soon as the words left her mouth, Carlon immediately knew it was on. Once they reached the wing entrance, Miss Johnson used her keys to unlock the double steel doors and lock them behind them. It was gone 9 p.m, so most of the lights were out. Carlon followed her along the landing until she stopped outside the cell and unlocked the door. She stepped inside and turned on the cell light. He walked in behind her. The cell was a tip. There was a metal toilet and sink to the left of the door, and a bed with a once white, now black mattress on it to the right. It isn't the Hilton, is it? He looked around the cell and shook his head. Then he turned to face her. I'll survive. You can stay the night if you like. Miss Johnson smiled and turned to leave. Sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite, right? Carlon placed his bed pack on top of the mattress and smiled. I'm not even gassing. You got wifey written all over your face. Bye, Carlon, she said as she stepped out of the cell. Bye, baby, he replied. My name is Kellyanne, she smiled, and then the cell door clanged shut, leaving him staring at the steel door. Someone was banging on the wall. In the cage, one who was on point never missed a trick and was always hip to when someone new came onto the wing. So that they knew if you were friend or foe, and if need be ready for battle at unlock the following morning. Yo, next door, what ends are you from? A unidentified voice shouted from outside the window. Whoever it was sounded real angry. Carlon walked over to the open window. Southeast 8, blood, what? Who's that? Shouted another voice from another direction. Fuck SC8, shouted another voice. Fuck you, replied Carlon. Stop talking tough and reveal your name, innit? Replied the same voice. It's nothing, rude boy. You're up there, I'm down here. Yo, is that Tiny? Said another voice. Yeah, why? Who's that? What Tiny? Asked the same voice. Yeah, that's me. Who's that? It's Trevor Denny, innit? I don't know no Trevor Denny. What are you talking about, said Trevor. Joanne's little brother. What, you don't know, man? He remembered. Shit, my bad. Southeast 8, a lie? Standard, replied Trevor. Okay, I hear you, rude boy, said Carlon. What's going on? Trevor laughed. Water still wet, sky still blue. You get me, blood? What, you got grade up there, fam? Grade? I ain't even got a roll up, my G. What, you gonna make something reach me? Yeah. I'm gonna send you a line, cuz. Okay. Give me 10 minutes and I'll holler back, yeah? Yeah, cool. Carlon walked away from the window and picked up his bed pack and unrolled it. Inside there were 2 sheets, 2 pillowcases, 2 blankets, a cup, plate, bowl, a knife, fork and spoon. He made his bed then sat down. He didn't know Trevor well, but he knew his sister Joanne very well. She was the baby mother of Gary Cox, a guy Carlon used to run with. Bang on cue. 10 minutes later, the dude next door was banging Carlon's wall. Yo, cell 29, yo! Carlon went back to the window. Yeah, what, is that me, yeah? Yeah, that's you, bruv. Put your hand out, bro. Put your hand out. Catch this line, innit? Carlon pulled the line into his cell. Tied to the other end was a Golden Virginia tobacco pouch. Inside was a lighter, Rizzler, tobacco, and an 8-ball of Jamaican high-grade weed. He sniffed the weed and nodded his head in appreciation. Yo, next door. You gone? Yeah, respect for that, yeah? Yeah, cool, innit? The name's Johnny Ringo, though, yeah? Ringo? Yeah, Ringo, blood. Johnny Ringo, blood. East Coast, my guy. Yeah, I hear that. Yo, Denny, you gone, Tiny? That's what I'm talking about, fam. Respect, yeah? It's nothing, big man. Listen, it's me one in this double cell, so you done know. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm gonna program the boy them to move you down here, yeah? Okay, I hear that. Yo, long day and all that. I'm gonna kick back, if anything, in the morning, fam. I hear that, B. One. Carlon smoked 2 spliffs back to back and crashed out. The following morning, he was awakened by the sound of banging cell doors and jangling keys. I'm slipping, he thought, laying in bed like it can't happen. He jumped out of bed, washed, dressed, and proceeded to search the cell for anything that could be turned into a weapon. Bingo! He found an old PP9 battery inside the cell locker drawer. He removed one of his socks from his left foot and slid the battery inside and tied a knot at the end. He was good to go. 2 minutes later, his cell was unlocked for breakfast and he stepped out onto the landing. Yeah, I'd just like to make it clear that in no way am I glamorizing drugs, guns, or gangs. I'm just telling my truth. And, you know, my truth at the start of this book is completely different to the end of this book, where obviously my personal rules that I live my life by have changed. But yeah, so I just want to put that out there, innit? So yeah, I don't want to feel like, yeah, it's not that. And yeah, R.I.P. Sparks. Come on, Andrew Onogo. Yeah, R.I.P. bro. Like, damn, in jail when you dropped. Yeah, you feature heavily in this book. Yeah, I just wanted to lay that out there, because enough people think like me and Sparks fell out, you know. A lot of people don't really know what I'll go on in it. The last time I saw Andy, we was on a visit, and I said to him, yo, Trevor's got to go, you know. And he looked at me and he was like, yo, fam, that's like Trevor saying, you got to go, fam. I'm saying, I don't trust my man, you know. And he was like, yo, allow that, cuz. That's like, nah, it's just us three, fam. I'm saying, brother, yeah, I don't care. He's got to go, bro. And he's like, nah, blood. That's like him saying, you got to go. Cause it was the three of us, innit? When I formed this GB thing, yeah, I recruited Sparks and I recruited Trevor, innit? You know, like that. So yeah, there was other man who was about, but yeah, my inner circle was those two. You know, like that. You get me? They were my trusted go-tos. You get me? And then anyway, yeah. So it was out of loyalty that, like, Sparks obviously wouldn't turn on his nigga, innit? And my nigga, you get me? But I just felt something in it at that time. And then when I came out of jail, I just cut them all off. I don't trust Trevor. I just moved like that. I didn't trust my man, innit? So yeah, I was just on a different thing. And then, yeah, I just went on some different shit. So yeah, a couple of people's been hitting me up today like, oh, you weren't talking to my man, yeah. So just know what it was, innit? And then the same you come around and lick him down, mad thing. But anyway, allegedly. So yeah, R.I.P. Sparks, man. You get me? Nothing but love for you, kid. I had you with me from you was 13, I had you close, bro. Yeah, I miss you still. Yeah, straight real talk. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, next question. Yeah, man, some man talking about I diss Blue in the first chapter. How can I diss Blue? Blue is good people. Yeah. And I had a friendship with Blue. So Road needs to know that, innit? Because bare people's hitting me up about Blue got violated in the first chapter. Never that. Yeah, Blue didn't get involved out of respect, out of love, out of yeah, just minding his own business. I'm not going into it no more than that. Yeah. I was on a unit with Blue, so this a man to know, innit? Like, enough man don't know that I was on a unit with Blue. When we're on a unit, that's the prison within the prison in Belmarsh. I'm on the 3rd floor. Blue and Lambie are on the 2nd floor. And every day I chat to Blue. I shout Blue. Like, yo, Blue! And Blue used to come to the window. Wah, wah, fam. Furthermore, he didn't just come to the window straight away. Mark would say, Lambie would say, yo, Blue! Your brethren's calling you. Yeah, bare jealousy. And Blue would come to the window and say, wah, go on. Yo, I saw she go on. That's how I used to refer to my man. I saw she go on. And with this reason. You get me? My Mark used to just lay on his back, lay on his back and he's sort of looking at the ceiling. You know them ones there? But anyway, it's all another thing. Like, it's all love, you hear me? Yeah, so yeah, don't know one about thinking like me and Blue got any issues out there. There's no issues, it's all love, you get me? Yeah, straight. Anyway. Chapter 2. Let's go. GB for life, baby. Yeah. Know that, innit? Before we get into, you know what? Before we get into chapter 2, let's get a name check. Name check to the old school GB man them. Gary Cox, name check. Chris Doyley, name check. Richard Doyley, name check. Sebastian, name check. Paro John, name check. Booker, name check. Old school Tiny, name check. Yeah. Fly, Shy, Peter Keezer, Formula. Yeah, original GB man then. Yeah, say nothing. Let's go, chapter 2. Bianca had just turned 16, yet she looked older and wasn't into boys her own age. They had no money, couldn't fuck, and were not mature enough to understand the importance of giving a lady a little head. She told anyone who asked. She smiled at the thought as she glanced across at Jason as he gripped the BMW drop-top steering wheel and guided the whip through the early South London traffic. He nodded his head to R. Kelly's smooth voice, which lightly pumped out of the car speakers. Bianca ran her hand through her short, cute cut. Her hair was black, the red highlights complementing her sweet caramel skin. She and Jason had been seeing each other for near 2 months. She had met him at a private boat party in the West End of London, and they were now inseparable. She had spent the following day with Jason as he rolled through the ends, handling his business. He and his workers would roll in convoy through the hood, and she would watch in amazement as one of his workers would pull up to the curb and a client would appear out of nowhere and be tossed a brown package containing a bit of cane or bee. She was definitely feeling his game. "What you thinking now, boo?" Jason asked as he slapped her on her thighs. She reached for his crutch and squeezed gently. "I'm thinking you need to pull this motherfucker over and show me what kind of game you got." He slowed down the whip at the traffic lights on the notorious Lucian Way and turned to stare at her. "A penny for your thoughts," said Jason. Bianca snapped out of it and turned and smiled. "I was just thinking about the night we first met." Jason returned a smile. He had spent the last 7 weeks observing Bianca on the low, and while he knew she loved money and wasn't 18, as she had told him, she was loyal and could do things with her peach that he didn't even know was possible. He was a big deal within the hood, and so she had known who he was. Jason had begged her to return home with him, and even through everything inside of her was telling her to throw caution to the wind, she declined. She knew the game and she played it like a pro. Her body was ridiculous. The traffic lights turned green, and he smiled and stepped on the gas. 5 minutes later, he pulled the whip to a stop in a KFC car park along the Old Kent Road. "Get out." Bianca smiled. "What for?" Jason stepped out of the whip and walked round to the back of the car. She followed and leaned over the back of the boot. He kicked her feet apart and gently pulled her short white skirt up around her hips and crouched down. He used his tongue like some form of magic wand. "Ooh," Bianca moaned as she glanced around the car park to see if there was anyone who had taken a ringside seat. There wasn't, but she wouldn't have cared if there was. "Eat me, baby." His tongue into her love box and began to freak her, slipping his hands between her legs and gently rubbing her spot with the tip of his finger. Her legs buckled as she exploded into his mouth, her candy juice running out of her peach and down his chin. Jason stood up slowly and spun her around. She leaned forward and began to kiss his neck as she unbuckled his Gucci belt and released his pole. He returned the love and slipped his tongue into her soft mouth. "Are you going to fuck me here, baby?" she whispered as she stroked his pole. Jason didn't answer. Her love box was soaking wet, and he slid straight in as she sat on the boot and wrapped her firm thighs around his waist. Baby. Fuck me like you really mean it," she moaned. He went to work, sinking his pole in deep and rotating his hips like an Indian belly dancer. He went all the way in and then pulled out until only the tip of his pole was left inside her. Jason's legs began to shake, and then he shot his load and slumped against her shoulder. "Damn." Bianca laughed as she slipped off the boot and pulled her skirt down. "Clean it." She dropped to her knees and slowly used her tongue to lick the sperm from his pole. He held her tightly until she had finished. Once they were back in the whip, Jason strapped a spliff and lit it as Bianca pulled down the passenger mirror so she could redo her look. He sucked on his joint, turned on the engine, and spun to face her. "Baby, you're right about now. You're the only thing that's pure in my life, you know. Don't fuck this up, you know. She turned to stare at him. Stop tripping, I've got you, innit? He blew out the smoke into her face, then waved away her answer. Loyalty is what separates the wife from the whore. If you ever betray me, ever, I swear down, I'll throw acid in your face. Bianca looked deep into his eyes and knew he was serious and meant every word he spoke. I won't betray you, darling. I love you. Chapter 3. Even from an early age, Carlon liked to be in control. So instead of relocating into Trevor's cell, Trevor moved in the opposite direction, and they were now playing a game of blackjack. Prisoners were limited as to how they could pass their jail time. Some were into fitness. Some were just happy to sit and watch the four walls. Carlon played cards, pushed iron, and mastered the art of playing chess. He was a thinker who hated losing, a trait which would become very important in his later life. Trevor and Carlon sat side by side on the bunk bed as they tried to outsmart each other, and they were both surprised when an East London wannabe gangster called Jacko rolled up into their spot. "What's up, Tiny?" said Jacko, calmly, but without a smile. Carlon stood up and braced himself for beef. He didn't know Jacko, so there was no reason for him to be in his cell. "Do I fucking know you?" Carlon said in a very aggressive tone. Jacko was spooked, and when he tried to speak, his voice sounded a little weak. He swallowed and forced out the words as tough as he could. "No disrespect, B, but word on the landing is your cellmate's a rapist." Carlon didn't blink. He was straight in Jacko's face. "Come again?" Jacko held his hands up. "Whoa! We ain't got no beef with you, fam. Man just pulling your coat." "Who's we?" asked Carlon.
Yo, I said, who can it be? It's cause of the law. Take him to the tower, take his head off for pissing me off. I said, who can it be? It's cause of the law. Take him to the tower, take his head off for pissing me off. Yo, I said, who can it be? It's cause of the law.
Jacko shrugged his shoulders. "Man, them innit?" Carlon suddenly smashed Jacko in the jaw with a right hook, sending him flying onto the landing. It was on. Carlon was all over him, and then all hell broke out. A member of staff saw Carlon kicking Jacko's head like a football and pressed the alarm. Carlon was marched to the block and located in a cell which had seen better days. The bed was a hard concrete slab with a thin, dirty blue fire blanket thrown on top. The sink was the size of a cereal bowl, and the toilet was not much bigger and reeked of piss. He shook his head and laid back on that slab and thought about stuff. He didn't know Trevor that well, but he had got word from people he trusted on the block who had informed him that Trevor's rape charge was a setup. He was tired, and so he closed his eyes. His mind was running like a train, trying to work out how the situation with Jacko and his boys would play out on his return to the wing. He fell asleep for a couple of hours and was woken up by a heavy thud on his side wall. Some motherfucker was swinging a chair against his wall and screaming out his name. "Yo, Campbell! Campbell!" Carlon was pissed at being awakened and went to the window and flipped. "Yo, which pussy's banging my wall, yo?" "There ain't no pussies around here, you know," a voice from the left said. "A lot of hot-headed thing. What wing you off?" "Nightingale," replied Carlon. "Why, who's that?" A few of the prisoners laughed. "The name's Pico, fam," answered the same voice. "What you down here for, bro?" Carlon had heard of Pico. He knew his younger brother Chippy. Pico was a big deal out of Tottenham, a stick-up kid who was around 3 years older. Shit, some jolting. I had to kick off one boy's face. Again there was laughter. "Yo, you can't be coming to the block from the juvenile wing calling big man pussy, you know. I'm next door to you. And if the door was open, you wouldn't be talking like that. Who the fuck is that? Asked Carlon. It's Lambie, Mark Lambie. Tottenham bad man, what? Corner Mark, said Pico. A juvenile, you know. So what? Juvenile boss gone too, you know, my brother. A true, my brother, shouted another unidentified voice. Worse, he's talking tough about he kick off man's face. Man's to apologise, blood. A wee run Feltham, you know. Carlon's back was firmly up against the wall. He was in a pressure cooker. And unknown to him and everyone else, the next few minutes would shape many relationships and cause many dramas over the next 20 years. Juvenile! Shouted Mark. What? Ain't you gonna apologise? Carlon didn't answer. Mark proceeded to swing his chair against Carlon's wall again. Yo, are you balling there, blood? Said Carlon. What? Furthermore, suck your mother pussy, shouted Mark. Suck your mother, you prick, replied Carlon. Oh no. Suck my mother, yeah? Said Mark. Alright, cool. Watch when I catch you. I'm gonna stab you straight in your face, pussy. Catch you, said Carlon. Do I look like I'm running? Where's he? Yo, where you from, blood? Asked Pico. SC8, blood, Deptford. Deptford, yeah? Okay, listen. You can't really be talking to a man like that, you know. He's a bigger boy for you, you get me? I hear all that, but hear this, big man. What's said, I lie? You're dead, pussy, said Mark. Fuck you, said Carlon. Carlon closed his window and laid back on the bed. Mark was pissed, and Carlon knew he had become a problem. He closed his eyes and nearly jumped out of his skin when the cell door was opened by a female officer with a big smile on her face. On closer inspection, he realised it was Miss Johnson standing in the doorway. She unlocked the cell bolt and stepped into the cell. Yeah, to all the young G's out there. Yeah, we want to do something positive. We're tired of the knife crime and tired of the guns and the drugs and the negative energy running around in the hood. If you want to get into films, you want to get into music, you want to get into documentaries, you want to try something different. Yeah, if you're from Milton Court, Woodpecker, original GB territory, back in the day, yeah, just shout me via real life TV. And if I can help you, I can help you. I can give you a role in a movie. I can help you anyway. You done know. GB forever. Yeah? But yeah, big man thing, you're from Milton Court, Woodpecker, down in the ghetto. Yeah, holla. Yeah? Saying that. Positive energy we're dealing with this year. Yeah?
When I see a dog, you ain't talking hard. I show no regard for your squad. When the guns went off, 10 toes and all, screaming fuck the law. They don't know, they don't know the hall. They don't know the hall, they don't know the hall. They don't know, they don't know the hall. They don't know the hall, they don't know the hall. They don't know.
Ray and nephew just to soothe the pain. Lost the plot, I never lose again. Couple ups, I'm like, who again? Whoever won it, nigga, choose a name. They don't know the half, I couldn't tell you even if I wanted to, they'll lock me up. Buck me in the field, you know what's up. Buck me in the field, I'll fuck you up.
Chapter 4. Jason Thomas looked around the little tiny spot that, for a strong minute at least, he would call home. It was a one-bedroom rented apartment a stone throw away from the exclusive King's Road, and he had selected the location because it was close to his Turkish connect, who was based in Fulham. He had moved 6 months previously after a close shave with a few Sydenham stick-up kids with pipe dreams of stepping into his shoes. Jason had a plan. He'd stack 7 figures and then get out of the game. He was only 21, but was already becoming a little tired of the drug game and longed to live a normal life. He walked over to the king-size mirror in his apartment and checked out his look. He liked what he saw. He had been pumping iron since the age of 18 and now had muscles niggas would die for. Moments later, Bianca Blackwood floated into the room wearing nothing except a matching Gucci bra and phone. Jason saw her in the reflection and smiled. Mary J. Blige was doing her thing in the background, and Bianca began to whine her hips over to him. His pole began to rise as he anticipated what would come next. He reached for her, but she sidestepped him. My rules today. You're not allowed to touch me. Get on the bed, playboy. Jason did as he was told and began to unbuckle his belt with her hands, revealing his solid pole, which was doing its own thing. She pulled off his jeans and began to French kiss his pole. Damn, baby, that feels so good. Jason closed his eyes and enjoyed the moment. She kissed her way up to his body. She reached under the pillowcase and produced a black silk blindfold, which she tied around his eyes. Okay, you're kinky, huh? He said, as she soft air kissed around his nipples and chest. She slid her tongue into his mouth and directed his arm towards the king-size bedpost. She reached down onto the floor, and Jason then felt the cold steel of handcuffs around his wrists, and then he heard it lock around the bed. Bianca switched sides and handcuffed his other arm to the other post. Nothing long. She punched him flush in the face and hopped off the bed. Hey bitch, what you doing? Shouted Jason as he tried to free his hands. Long. Bianca had him bagged and tagged. She laughed. There's only one bitch in there right now and that's you know. Where's the PB? Are you nuts? Shouted Jason. I ain't got no pee here. She walked over to the side of the bed and stumped Jason in the face using the sole of her right foot. Are you dumb? I swear down, you're dead when I owe you, Jason shouted. Yeah? You keep talking tough and you're dead now, you pussy. She left the room and returned carrying a pink juicy tracksuit and a pair of white and pink 110s. Bianca, why are you doing this? After everything I've done for you? Look, just uncuff me and, nigga, please, allow it, innit? She began to get dressed. Bianca. She went over to the oak wardrobe and began throwing shoe and trainer boxes onto the floor. She smiled as she saw thick £50 bundles topple out of the boxes. That's what I'm talking about, she said, as she opened up all the boxes and scooped all the paper into a pile in the middle of the carpet. Baby, you don't have to go there, he said in a desperate plea. She slowly stared at him with contempt as he foolishly wiggled his legs on the bed. Jason, just shut the fuck up. Bianca, don't fuck with me, you know? Shut the fuck up, Jason. Just tell me why you're doing this, he pleaded. Just tell me why you're doing this. Bianca pulled a blue night rucksack from out of the wardrobe and began to load it with cash. You got a very short memory, innit? Huh? She stood up and threw the rucksack over her back. She walked over to the bedside table and picked up Jason's car keys and mobile and dialed a number. Yo, Bianca! Just tell me what I've done. Look, whatever I've done, I'm sorry, okay? She laughed and spoke into the phone. Yeah, it's a done deal, baby boy. I got around 70k, and there's 15 bits of cane in the boot of his whip. She pressed end and threw the phone onto the bed. What's up, baby? Untie me, man. Shit, you know I love you. Like, come on. Like, she walked over to the bed and bent forward and whispered into his ear. If I didn't like you, I'd kill you. You see, the next time you threaten to throw acid in someone's face, don't be so careless. 5 hours later, after having her hair and nails done, Bianca pulled Jason's whip to a stop in the Croydon Holiday Inn car park. Her brother Martin had booked her a room. He was playing FIFA on a PS3 when she walked in. "Well, go on, sis," Martin said when she sat down on the bed. "Where the fuck you?" "I'm here now, bro." She cut him off. "Chill out, innit?" "Yeah, I hear that, but catch this. If you want to be a pro, you got to roll like a pro. You get me, sis? Real talk. Only an amateur goes on a robbery, then stops off at the beauty salon before coming back to base." She was baffled, as Martin had not taken his eyes off the TV once since she stepped into the room. "You should have been a fed, bro." "Nah, you're just loose, sis. I could smell the nail varnish." Bianca flopped back onto the hotel bed and smiled. Martin was the youngest of 5 brothers and 3 years older than she was. He paused the PS3 and turned to observe the ex-tomboy he'd schooled since he had caught her smoking weed at the age of 12. He had since watched her grow from a spoilt little girl into a smooth, elegant gangster baby. He stared at Bianca for a moment and shook his head with disbelief. The room was silent, except for the FIFA theme that was coming out of the TV speakers. "The food's still in the boot, right?" She nodded her head and threw him the car keys. 14 bits. "I took 1 bit for my boys on my block." Martin reached beneath the chair and pulled out a battered duffel bag which he threw over his shoulder. "How much paper did you get?" She sat up. "If you look in the glove, you'll find 20k. He stared at her with his piercing brown eyes. "I didn't ask you that." "Do I look like a dumb chicken head to you?" she answered. "Nah, you look like my little fucking sister." "Then fucking respect the fact that I've just dropped over 400k worth of cane on you. Tax-free, nigga. Shit. Why niggas be so greedy? I even gave you some Gucci shoe money and you're still screaming." Martin smiled and walked over to the bottle of brandy sitting on top of the minibar. "I'll have what you're having, fam," Bianca said. Martin poured them both a glass of brandy over ice. He gave Bianca hers and they touched glasses. "New era." She smiled and took a sip. "You got the game in the palm of your hand, don't fuck it up, bro." Martin downed his drink in one and placed the empty glass on the minibar top. He and Bianca were close, but she wasn't up to speed on the magnitude of her brother's game on the road. They had the hood on lock, and the 14 bits of cane in Jason's car boot would elevate the family straight to the top shelf. "Don't worry, sis, I got a plan." "What are you going to do about Jason?" "Fuck him, innit? He ain't got no balls to step up and say shit. Man's already pulled his coat. And if he even blinks, it's curtains."
Yo, I said, who can it be? It's cause of the law. Take him to the tower, take his head off for pissing me off. I said, who can it be? It's cause of the law. Take him to the tower, take his head off off for pissing me off. Yo, I said, who can it be? It's cause of the love. Take him to the tower, take his head off. Off for pissing me off.
Chapter 5. Carlon and Trevor were sat either side of the square table, staring down at the chessboard. Trevor had him in a tight spot, and it had been Carlon's move for over 5 minutes. They had been cellmates for near 3 months, and had bonded over the chessboard, while Carlon laid down his plans for the future. Trevor would smoke weed and listen with excitement. Trevor looked up from the chessboard. Yo, my G, when you go home, yeah, are you looking to go back and roll with Cox and Doyley then? Carlon shook his head. Nah, bro, they're good people, but they're washed up, blood. I'm pissed, Carl. It's like in the 3 years I've been unlocked, all of them are having a madness, cuz. It is what it is. I'm going on road to build my own thing, blood. New team, feel me? I touched road a couple months after you, so you done know. If you need me, I'm there, innit? Trevor said. Carlon looked him straight in the eye. Are you ready though, blood? Course, I was born ready, Trevor replied. Carlon laughed and they shook hands. A friendship had been born. Who's this Bucky Mark dude? Asked Carlon. I hear he's on a strip killing it right now. Yeah, he's a bit of an all-rounder still. He's from Peckham, innit? But he's rolling with our youngers. What youngers? Trevor shrugged. I don't think you know them still. They're only like 13, 14. They would have been like babies when you was on the road. There's like Sparks, Shifty, Delphon, TQ. You know them? Nah, youngers, innit? But I know who they are still. I know Delphon's dad, Leslie, TQ's mum, Marina. I know Sparks' older brother, Eddie. Trevor picked up his spliff out of the ashtray and relit it. Bucky's got them unlocked right now. They hit safes and shit. Gone. It's nuts, fam. Like, he takes them to hotels, restaurants, whatever, and he kind of uses them as a distraction and somehow cops the safe keys and cleans it out, innit? Jolting, said Carlon. No dude from Peckham can have up my youngers. Are you nuts? You know Titch? Nah, who's he? Ah, nah. He's Bucky's right-hand man, innit? No neck, but he thinks he's hard, bro. I'll show him hard, bro, when I go home, bruv. Carlon said to himself as he looked down at the chessboard and used his queen to defend his king. Trevor laughed. What? It's a standoff, yeah? It's nothing. We play chess like we play the game. Take one of mine, I take one of yours. Trevor made a reckless move, moving his horse into an attacking position instead of retreating his queen out of the line of fire. Carlon did not hesitate and went queen for queen, and then smiled as he then used his pawn to take Trevor's rook as part of the deal. Now you're 3 pieces down. Rule number 1, never go to war unless there isn't any other option. What's rule number 2, Trevor asked. Never attempt to win a war you know you'll lose. Like, you was 2 pieces down, right? Yeah, and you gave up the strongest member of your team, stated Carlon in disbelief. Only a fool thinks about today with no thought of tomorrow. It's not even that. I had a plan. You just fucked it up, innit? Carlon waved away Trevor's weak defense. Rule number 3. You can never be wrong and strong. What's rule number 4? Carlon smiled. Never ask a question unless you know the answer. Trevor sucked on his spliff and attempted to try and limit the damage by moving his king 1 space to the left, but the damage had already been done. Carlon moved his queen slowly along the chessboard and took the pawn directly in front of Trevor's king. The queen was supported by a horse. Trevor brought the palm of his hand down onto the chessboard in anger. Checkmate, Carlon said with a smile on his face. Rule number 5. Control your emotions and make failure your friend. Real talk. When you do something, you may fail, bro. But that's not because you're a failure. It's because you ain't learnt enough. The solution next time around is play your game differently. Alright. 6 weeks later, Carlon was standing outside Lewisham train station, waiting for a family friend called Leslie. He sucked on his joint and observed his surroundings as he sorted out the plan in his mind as to how he would go at Bucky Mark. He would go hard. He knew no other way. He had spent 3 years in the cage and was now weighing at 15 stones, pure muscle, and he was hungry. Leslie rolled up in a 1.9 black Peugeot. Carlon opted in. Before he had even closed the door, Leslie hit the gas and they proceeded to comb the streets of southeast London for Bucky Mark. "The boy Bucky a pussy," Leslie screamed, with one eye on the road. "Don't watch nothing. I'm going to straighten out the 09, innit? Yeah, we need some harder, you get me? Delphin's only 13 and Bucky's got him on the road. I take advantage." Carlon glanced at the middle-aged dude and saw straight through him. Leslie was broke, washed up, and far from being concerned about his son, his only desire was to use any angle possible to get a piece of the action. "You know where to find them? Them easy to find," responded Leslie. "All them do is drive up and down Lewisham and blood clot Peckham like them a fool. They make money though." Carlon laughed. "How's your mum? I ain't seen her in a while. Is she okay?" "Yeah, she's good still. Yeah, she's calm. I was with your uncle yesterday. He's making a ring for me, but he wants too much money, man." Leslie was right. Bucky wasn't hard to find. He manoeuvred his whip into a side street, and there was Bucky Mark and the youngers standing around his parked car. Leslie pulled the whip to a stop. Carlon opted out. None of them knew Carlon, but they knew who he was, and had heard that he was out and acting crazy. Carlon didn't disappoint. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Bucky Mark," said Carlon as he rode menacingly into Bucky's personal space. "Do I know you?" Bucky answered in an aggressive tone as he tucked in his massive rope chain and fronted it out. "Tell me where I know you from." Caught between his two hotheads, the youngers decided to kick back and watch how it all played out. Bucky was their friend, and they had mad love for him, but they understood the politics of the game, and it was an open secret that Carlon was next in line to become a hood superstar. "Fuck the performance, blood. Maybe we should go off air so I can walk you through the situation," Carlon said as he gestured for Bucky to follow him to a little alleyway that was 10 feet away. Bucky shook his head and laughed. Once they were alone, Carlon went straight in. "The name's Tiny B, SC8, feel me? You see those young cats you're rolling with? Their area code's SC8. SC8's Deptford, nigga. And you're from Peckham, right? What do you want? What do you want?" "I want what you want," replied Carlon. "An easy life. I'm not greedy, B. All I want is a seat around the table and I'm good. And if I don't agree," Carlon smiled, "I don't think it'll come to that." Bucky laughed. "How come you're so sure?" "Because you're a smart guy," Carlon said with his standard enthusiasm. "You know who I am. And if you make this transition smooth, I'll take you to the top with me. Yeah? Yeah, bro. Fuck it. But don't get it twisted and feel like I'm shook. Nah, never that. I just feel your gangster, B." No doubt, answered Carlon. "It's nothing. You didn't fold. I respect that." "I've been hearing your name ringing for a strong minute now. Welcome home, playboy. I'm killing them right now. Peck now. You know how we do. I'm going to give you a ringside seat." They shook hands and returned to where the others were. The youngers had smiles on their faces. glad that Carlon and Bucky had not come to blows. Delphin had sent his pops on his way. "What's up, Tiny?" asked Sparks. "What, you rolling with us now?" "Nah, young G, you're rolling with me." Sparks was the leader of the younger Deptford gang. And while he was only 5'8", he was strong like an ox and lived up to his nickname. Next in line was Shifty, a dark-skinned skinny motherfucker who had a big heart. Then there was Delphon, a sly motherfucker who Carlon didn't like or trust from the jump. There was just a bad vibe about him. And lastly there was TQ. He was an all-rounder. Carlon sized up what he would be working with and noted that with the right leadership they could make a lot of noise in the hood. They all spoke about frivolous stuff for a while, and then Carlon broke off to go and handle private matters. The following morning, Bucky pulled up outside Carlon's family home in Lewisham in his 1.6 Peugeot. Sparks was in the passenger seat. Carlon hopped into the back and chatted on the phone, while Sparks and Bucky went through the plan. Carlon flipped his mobile shut and listened. They didn't know too much about the white guy they were going to rob. He was new on the ends and so was his product, crack. The mixture of baking soda and cane that made a crackling sound when cooked on the stove. Motherfuckers were going crazy over the shit. Bucky had got the drop on him via a chick from around the way who was into sniff and bought a couple of grams off him on weekends. Bucky and Sparks had spent the last week running their own surveillance on the dude's crib, and due to the high level of activity around his flat, they knew their information was right. Bucky parked the whip in a side street in Catford, and they walked to the spot. The dealer lived on the top floor. Bucky double-checked the heat on his hip and then knocked the grill door, while Carlon and Sparks waited in the wings for his sign. There was movement on the other side of the door. "What do you want, mate?" asked a male voice from inside the flat. "I'm Mandy's boyfriend," Bucky said in a Cockney accent. "I've come to collect that thing, bruv." The dealer opened the door and spoke through the taut chain. "What you after, bruv?" he asked as his eyes went from Bucky's face to the bundle of 50s inside the palm of his hand. "A Z of each, bruv." "Yeah? If you wash it up, I'll give you another oneer." The dealer took the chain off. "Come in, me old China," said the long-haired, skinny white drug dealer. "Come in, come in." Bucky backed his eat and pushed it up against the dealer's chin. "Moving, you dead pussy." The white drug dealer, whose name was John, he was spooked. He led them into the living room. He crouched down and slid a large black rug to the side and popped up his custom-made safe under the floorboard. Carlon pushed him to the side and reached into the safe, and as promised, the belly was inside. 4 bits of cane, 40 bags of cash, neatly stacked in 5k bundles. "Man's in the game, blood." Sparks copped the food from behind the TV and they bounced. Chapter 6. Bianca and her team were based on the Lovelinch estate in Deptford. At the time it was the crack capital of the country, or so the media said. The Yardies had put Lovelinch on the map, but they were now history. She glanced around the front room as she ran the Christopher Wrens through the money machine. Her right-hand man, Rich Kid, was sitting on the bed speaking on his mobile. Keith, her trusted shooter, was sitting directly opposite her. Bianca had given him the nickname One a Day because he tended to drop at least one body every day. He was paid to kill, and while Bianca watched him, he never lost focus or took his eye off the bedroom door entrance. It had been 12 weeks since Bianca had returned to her block with that bit of cane. Her and her team were now copping 4 bits every Thursday and quickly developed a reputation for good product and lethal violence. If someone fucked you, you either wiped your mouth or took steps to return the love. "Bianca, I don't think you should go to the club tonight," Rich Kid said, repeating what her brothers had been telling her all week. He ended his call and laid back on the bed, using his elbows for support as he stared at Bianca. She stared back, Have you been talking to Martin? Who was that on the phone? Nah, B, listen nothing. I ain't living like no prisoner for no boy. No gal either. Rich Kid shook his head. Nobody is saying you should. All I'm saying is it would be wise to duck the spotlight for a minute. Bianca stood up. Is that what you're saying or what my brothers are saying? Rich Kid rolled his eyes. Your brothers can't and don't pull my chain. Look, shit's gonna jump and it's gonna get nuts for us. Bianca felt a rush of anger, but she kept her composure. Fuck 'em, Rich Kid, she said quietly as she refilled the money machine. What team out there is cuter than ours right now? Shit, Rich Kid mumbled. There we go. Bianca smiled. Tonight we man up and ride, innit? There was a long silence. Rich Kid glanced at Wanaday, but his expression was blank. Fuck it. At midnight, Rich Kid parked his 500 SL Benz in an estate opposite the Lex nightclub, which was 400 yards down the road. In the passenger seat, sucking on an high-grade spliff, was Bianca, rocking a green Halston dress, a pair of Jimmy shoes with light-up heels that had set her back £1,500, and a pair of Hermes sunglasses braided in goatskin. She flipped down the mirror and smiled. The Trinity gold and diamond earrings in her ears were sick, but she knew the emerald and diamond necklace hanging around her neck would send Joe Public bananas. Rich Kid glanced at her and fixed his eyes on the road. Motherfuckers are gonna need shades to talk to you, boo. Bianca smiled. Rich Kid didn't look too bad himself. He liked to keep it simple. He was rocking a three-piece black Gucci suit and black Gucci loafers. Bianca watched him slide out of the whip and thought Rich Kid looked comfortable but debonair. She felt her mobile vibrating. She checked the screen and took the call. She listened for a moment and flipped down her phone and stepped out and blessed the pavement with her box-fresh Jimmy shoes. Bianca and Rich Kid had rolled in a 5-car convoy, and she turned on her heels and began to walk as her 12-man and 4-girl team surrounded her and headed towards the spot. She looked to her left. Wanaday was there. He was always there. The Lex Club was owned by a South East London playboy called Tony Doyley. It was in Hackney, East London. But Doyley was very popular due to his charm and rep as an old-school stand-up guy. When Bianca and her team reached the club entrance, Doyley, with a glass of the finest in his hand, gave her a kiss on the cheek and allowed them to roll into the spot. Carlon, Sparks and Trevor were already inside the Lex Club, and while Sparks did not drink, Trevor and Carlon stood at the bar and shared a bottle of Chris. Both were only moderate drinkers. Sparks, like the others, recreational drug of choice was weed. Trevor had been home 2 weeks, and true to his word, Carlon had kept him in mind when assembling his new team. Bucky had got caught up on robbery mode. Trevor replaced him, and their new crime of choice was stealing computer chips from commercial buildings. Carlon and his gang would break into offices, colleges, and other government buildings using crowbars, boldly sneaking past security to clean out the spot. The Lex Club was on fire. The spot was packed with people getting their swag on. Carlon noticed the crowd part to allow a large group, led by a young, beautiful female, slide through the club. He knew instantly that the female was Bianca Blackwood, the 17-year-old younger sister of the notorious Blackwood brothers out of Love Lynch. Word was that she had wrapped up her ex-boyfriend and was now making her own waves within the game. "Who's that chick?" asked Trevor. Carlon kept his eyes on Bianca. "That's Bianca Blackwood," he said, refilling his glass to the rim. He backed it down in one. "She's hot, I lie?" "For sure, I don't want to fuck that, I just want to eat that blood," drawled Trevor. "Stop that," said Sparks. "Bad man don't eat pussy blood, it's not that." "Yeah, I know this, but every now and again, we can make an exception," Trevor said with a smile on his face. "Mine, you know. A bad girl still, you know. Yeah, she sticks niggas' blood," Carlon joked. "Who did she stick?" Trevor asked innocently. "Her ex-man, innit?" Sparks answered. Carlon nudged Sparks as Rich Kid, Bianca and 5 of their goons approached the bar. Rich Kid placed an order for 10 bottles of Chris, 6 bottles of brandy and 5 bottles of Grey Goose. Bianca held onto Rich Kid's shoulder and that ugly motherfucker went back to back with her and watched the crowd. Sparks noticed that Carlon's attention was on one of they. He glanced at him, then back at Carlon. Carlon had mastered the ability to remain calm and focused when others cut from a lesser texture than his, grew frightened and nervous. So when the first stone was thrown and all of the Lex Club ravers hit the floor and began to scream, Carlon didn't flinch. Neither did Sparks or Trevor, even though the stone was thrown in their direction. The only people left standing was Carlon and Bianca's team, who unconsciously merged into one and returned fire at a group of 6 or 7 dudes who were attempting to bring the curtains down on their careers. Carlon's Eckler and Koch 53 sniper's rifle, loaded with 7.62 armor-piercing rounds, had been under his jacket, good to go. So when he raised his gun and squeezed, yeah, what's up, people? This is Carlon Campbell Robinson, the author of the audiobook, a product of my environment, which you guys have been listening to. I'm also the author of Every Coin, which is a critical acclaimed stage play that was performed at the Soho Theatre. Yeah, I thought I'd plug that. Anyway, yeah, I just want to send some love and appreciation out to all you guys who have supported this audiobook. And all the comments that you lot have left on YouTube have been amazing and, yeah, interesting still. As a writer, when I share my work with the world, the greatest reward I can get really is when you guys demand more, when you guys ask for more. So yeah, going through all those comments on YouTube was like, okay, cool, I've done my job. That's what it's about. It's about taking you guys on a journey. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for the support. Yeah, so anyway, big up Louis Town Blue and Sharper Blue. Yeah, 2 artist rappers on the road right now. Hands down, I said that. Real guys, no more bubblegum things. See the bubblegum season? Yeah, that's dead out here. You know this this internet bad boy thing. Yeah, that's all dead out here. Yeah, that's all long. Some real G's giving you some real rap. Yeah. Speaking of which, big up Rap Man. How you mean? Look out for his movie dropping on November the 22nd. Blue Story. Yeah, go to the cinema and support that. Yeah? The most authentic urban movie ever to be dropped by any writer in Britain, period. Yeah, I said that, period. Yeah, so make sure you guys go out on November the 22nd and support Rapman's Blue Story. Yeah, Tiny said that. How you mean? And I want to big up Quincy, the producer. Big you up for giving me the platform to put this, put this little audio book out. Yeah. And what you done with the music, genius. How you mean? Yeah, you worked super hard, and I appreciate that still. So this is chapter 6, it's the final chapter. Hold on. Big up Tariq, big up Shifty, original GB members. How you mean? Come on. Enough man's asking me am I GB? Yeah, of course I'm GB. GB blood runs through my veins. Then I got a couple man in my DM. In fact, I got about 8, 9 man in my DM asking me about Coley this, Coley that. Let me just tell you something, so everybody knows what it is, what's good in it. Nothing but love for Coley still. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's doing his music thing, and he's doing a lot for the community, and he's doing a lot for the so-called GB brand. When I say so-called GB brand, because obviously GB is now, a section of it is music. But I ain't got nothing but good words to say about him, because I can count on one hand the amount of guys who come to prison to visit me. Yeah? So, yeah, I have to respect Coley on that level there, because he travelled from London all the way to Lincoln, stayed in a hotel overnight, and then came with my cousin to pick me up when I was in a DCAT up in North Sea Camp. And the man had come for me 8:30 in the morning and took me out and we went for a meal, and he didn't have to do that. So yeah, as I say, I can count on one hand. Certain family members didn't even come and take me out. So yeah, Wagwan. Yeah, love for that still. So yeah, I thought I'd straighten that out. Boom! Anyway, let's go. Chapter 6. This is the last installment that will be free. From here, you gotta go to the GCM Entertainment Group website. Follow the instructions. And yeah, you can pre-order your own copy and follow my journey. Peace.